Hey there, it's Rami over here. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. Hey, I've broken my phone, so unfortunately I'm filming with my webcam today. But nevertheless, I thought I'd still make a video today. And the video today that I'm making is pretty important. One of the most daunting things about, the whole job application process is the interviews. I've had the opportunity of being able to conduct a few interviews and help with the interview process for a couple jobs that I've worked at, and I just want to share with you some of my tips. If you got a job interview coming up, some things that could help you stand out on the day. So number one, guys, first thing that is super important when it comes to job interviews is your appearance. So, believe it or not, you are going to be judged for your appearance. Now, you're not going to be judged about whether you're overweight or whether you're too short or too tall or anything like that. But you're going to be judged on how you present yourself on the job interview day. So, how you dress is very important. Make sure when you receive that email or the confirmation that you've got the job interview and the day for that, that you look at the dress code carefully. They will give you a dress code. Sometimes they'll say business attire or smart casual. Make sure you Google that stuff, have a look, and follow those guidelines. It's very important that you come to a job interview looking fresh and looking clean. It's always better, I feel, to slightly overdress than to underdress during a job interview. I think it's more important for you to look a bit more professional and a bit more kind of blasé and casual during a job interview. Now, in saying that, when you come and do your job interview, guys, do not take shortcuts in making yourself more comfortable or relaxed. What I mean by that is don't roll up your sleeves. Don't unbutton, don't unbutton your shirt. Don't relax your tie. Um, you know, don't wear three-quarter pants. Things like that. Just make sure that you are dressed in a way that is smart, that is appropriate, and that makes you look professional. Okay, that is extremely important. So, guys, appearance. First of all, come to that job interview, follow the dress code, and smash it. Okay, don't wear clothes that are way too baggy. Don't wear clothes that are way too revealing or too tight. Just keep it casual, keep it smart, but keep it always slightly more professional or formal than relaxed or lazy. Next thing you want to do is during the job interview, guys, is your body language. So your body language during job interviews is extremely important. I remember one of the job interviews that I did. The guy that was being interviewed slouched down on his chair, sunk into his chair, kind of like that, and he was basically man spreading during the interview. That to me is awful body language during the day. So during the job interview, what you want to do is you want to sit up straight. Okay, sit up straight, have an approachable look about you. So don't be afraid to smile here and there. It can actually help you relax. So smile during the job interview, sit up straight, and ensure that you're maintaining eye contact with your interviewer or interviewers. And if you have more than one interviewer, make sure you're alternating eye contact. Okay. So, if you got one interviewer here, one interviewer there, just make sure that you're answering questions, looking at them both, maintaining eye contact, and having that smile. Another thing is during the job interview phase, always be prepared to ask them some questions. So, obviously, depending on what the job is that you're applying for, ensure that you have a few questions up your sleeve because you're going to get the inevitable, do you have any questions for us question. Now, it doesn't really look particularly good if you have absolutely no questions for them. For the interviewer, you responding back and asking them questions shows a peak in interest. And it shows that you do want the role and that you're taking it seriously. So think about the role that you're in. Think about questions that pop into your mind and bank them for the interview day. So when they ask you if you have any questions, you could actually provide them with those questions and they most likely will answer it. But not only will they answer the questions for you that you're curious about, it will actually give you a potential advantage on the day because it shows that you got an interest in the job and it shows that you're trying to dig further. Just try not to ask questions that could be misinterpreted. So try not to really overly focus on pay during the job interview. Another important tip during the job interview day is you will very likely have an assessment. So you'll have a activity or a group activity where you are being assessed on how you deal with things and how you communicate with people. So one of the most important things is you should be given a group activity. During a group activity, this is where you are being judged now based on your communication style, based on your leadership, you know, based on your behavioral patterns. These things are what they'll be marking you on. So when you are in that position where you have got a group interview, not a group interview, like a group activity, it's extremely important, guys, that during this group activity, you need to stay, um, kind of on the fence, but poke your head out every here and there. Okay. So what I mean by that is during the group activity, I do notice that there's usually one person that kind of will try and take charge and try and claim the leadership role on the table. Now, this isn't always a bad thing. If it's part of your nature, if that's kind of who you are and how you act in that environment, for you to kind of take the torch isn't always a bad thing. But the point is how you do that. So a lot of people can come across as quite aggressive in their ways, quite assertive in claiming their position in that group. And the interviewer can see that straight away when you're trying too hard or when you're trying to overtake the project. That is when it is kind of seen more in a detrimental light. Also, what your interviewer does not want to see is you being entirely submissive in the group activity and entirely shut down and quiet and reserved. This is your opportunity if you're a bit of an introvert to kind of get out there, get out of your shell. And you don't have to do too much. If you're introverted and you're doing this group activity, just throw your input there, here and there. If you can't be that leader role, then be the supportive role. Be the person that will say, that's a great idea. Or be the person that will suggest something and say, well, how about this? And be a person that will repeat the information back. This stuff is all very important as well. So don't think if you're introverted, the group activity will be necessarily hard for you. You don't need to take the throne and become the leader. You could just kind of become a supportive role in that environment. Just do not sit there and be quiet. Do not sit there and have no ideas. And do not sit there and just lack the motivation and support that they're looking for. If you're extroverted, you know what? Keep that extroverted energy. Do not overdo it. Always open yourself up to the rest of the group. Take in their ideas, formulate your own, brainstorm, and then come up with the conclusion that you all agree with. Agreement is very important during a group activity where you're all kind of finding that common ground, and then you could present yourselves, present your ideas. Also, with job interviews, guys, it's very important that when you answer the questions, that you try and relate it to a past experience. A lot of the questions they ask you will be about your history or, about how you've dealt with things. So just think in advance now about jobs that you've had before. Um, and even if you're young and you didn't work before, think of situations before that you had to deal with. Think about situations where you had to problem solve. Think about where you had a goal and you achieved that goal, through means of your own, or more importantly, through means of working with other people. You've got to think about examples when it comes to job interviews because the last thing you want to do is sit there and go, that's what you do not want, guys. So always come prepared. Always be prepared for the standard kind of questions that they ask you almost in every job interview, regardless of the job. They will ask you very likely why you want the role. Think about why you want that particular role. They will ask you about the company. that you're applying for and why you want to work for that particular company. So it's important that you do some research about the company itself and see, figure out what you like about them or what intrigues you about them. They will very likely ask you about your weaknesses. And this is a question that is always has terrified me in interviews. Just remember when you're answering that question in regards to what your weakness is, always flip it around and end it on a positive note. So fine, mention that weakness that you may have, but then always turn it around and leave it to end on a positive note where you're trying to, overcome that weakness, or where you're trying to fight that weakness or challenge that weakness, or where you're trying to challenge yourself to improve on that. And that is okay. We all have weaknesses. None of us are perfect. But just be prepared for questions like that, where they will ask you what you think your weakness is. This stuff is all really important. You need to come prepared. So, get on Notepad, get on WordPad or whatever, Microsoft Word, type up like a fake little interview with those questions and point out what you would say, how you would answer. And then come the day, you might feel a lot more switched on. The questions will come and you can fire back, with an appropriate time frame. All of these things will help you when you are applying for a job. I'd like to thank you guys for watching me so much. And if you're out there applying for a job right now, good luck to you. I hope that you get it. Get out there and give it your all. Okay. Thank you so much. God bless. Take care, and I'll see you guys around.